Chicajcie, wam palec pokażę, wy rady.
Welcome to another episode of the Harbor Podcast. My name is the Kino Cowboy. I'm here with Boston Flasher, aka Austin Casher. Look him up online, folks. Add him, hit on him, do whatever you want. Dox him. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, dox me, dude. 13 Fort Smith, Arkansas. Let's go.
I'm in my girlfriend's bedroom. I'm trying to do a new setup for the podcast, but that'll come in a little bit. I'm not worried about that today. For now, you can look at her cute little plushies, squishmallows. For those of you who know, if you have more than 5 squishmallows and you're a woman, then you're mentally ill. That's just how it goes.
Shout out to Parker. Dude, the setup you have right now, you can barely see the crown. Are you still the Kino Cowboy? There you go.
There you go. Yeah, the lighting's all weird. I need a front light, but it's whatever. We're coming today to, well, that sounded weird. We're talking about today,
absolutely not coming.
We're talking about today a film that has been spread throughout the cinephile internet community for years now, ever since it got its restoration, I think in 2017 or 18.
It was 2017.
It's got brand new acclaim from new viewers, including us.
Yes,
called Come and See. One of the sadder, bleaker movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely a fucking gut punch to the core. That's kind of what you expect with Soviet era World War II films. The shit came out in 1985.
Yeah.
Soviet film. Absolutely one of the most soul-crushing movies I've ever seen, but also one of the most poignant and beautifully done movies I've ever seen.
Sure.
It got its release in 1985, which it was censored for a while because of how graphic and just kind of disturbing the movie is.
It shocked people. They weren't ready for it.
No, absolutely not. It got big again back in 2001 amongst the underground film homies. And in 2017, like you said, it got a re-release and it is basically taken like the film bro community by storm.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen the iconic image of the dude, getting picture taken. Yeah. So it's a movie. It takes place in Belarus, I think, Belarusia, whatever.
Yeah. Back when it was, yeah.
So it's an interesting take. You don't see anything else based in this country very often. It's still very much a underdeveloped country back in the 40s, and it starts with our protagonist, Mr. Fliora, trying to become a Russian resistance fighter, which is that opening scene sets the fucking tone for the film with him digging for guns with his buddy.
Childlike.
Yeah, but his buddy's making all those voices. And dude, honestly, one of the more disturbing images is just Flora sitting in the bush, just laughing to himself about everything as his buddy's explaining, we need guns to become resistance fighters in a very weird fucking voice. And it fucking creeped me out, dude. The opening creeped me out a lot.
And World War II allows for so many weird, eerie, surrealist settings because of what's going on.
Dude, yeah.
And when we did Empire of the Sun, I said any other director would make this movie, it would be the bleakest, darkest movie of all time.
Well, we got it.
Because if you go back and if you haven't seen Empire of the Sun, these two movies are almost like the two sides of a similar coin, with a kid who gets in over his head in World War II in different ways.
Thrust in immediately.
But perfectly, it starts with a childlike scene. They're almost playing, but it's obviously very dangerous because they're looking for fucking guns.
Yeah, and their whole village is German occupied at that point.
Yeah.
And it's they're searching for guns, and they have this childlike hero worship of the resistance fighters.
Yeah.
And once they find the gun, they get all excited, and then your first introduction to the resistance fighters, like, that what they're doing is honorable, but they're kind of shitheads. They like walk into the mom's house while she's begging her son not to fucking leave.
First of all, he idolizes them so much that she's like begging him and crying and screaming. He doesn't even give a fuck. He's just like, hey, whatever. Like almost laughing, like winking at his sisters, like it's not a big deal. Like,
fuck, that's so fucked.
In a way, he kind of deserves what's coming. but not. He's a kid, How old is he? Like 13, 14?
He's young. Let me check. He's definitely in, like, if he's not like 13, 14, he'd be like 16. It doesn't really give him an age.
I'm gonna say 14.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But he's like completely fucking innocent at this point. Like, he thinks of it as almost like a game. A game,
an adventure.
Yeah, like, fucking, I'm going off to war. We're gonna kill the Nazis.
Because there's always been, it's all about masculinity. It always has been.
Yeah, dude. Just in general, especially, like, I feel like he probably thought once he goes to fight for the resistance, he'd be able to be a hero amongst his village, because there's not too many people from his village that are going to join the resistance. In fact, they're openly just trying to live and just keep their heads down and protect themselves. And so there's a lot of opposition for him to go, mainly because they know that the German occupied soldiers there are going to be like, if they see this resistance fighter come from this village, then everybody's a resistance fighter. Everybody's fucking fucked,
This is fresh too, because, well, not, it's an older film, but most World War II movies are, German centric, like Poland or like Africa or the Pacific, certain battles and things like that. This is another example, just like the Empire of the Sun, where it's this small niche area of the world during World War II that,
dude, I'll be honest, I didn't even realize that, like, Belarus had a Nazi occupation.
Well, I knew a lot of Slavic areas, what was going on there, because if people at home don't know, I'm Albanian. My family is from Kosovo, so back then, early Yugoslavia.
That's fair.
I've heard stories from my family of what, some World War II, mainly post World War II, up and through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and what it was like. So I knew a little bit, and seeing how they were living, the conditions they were in back then, it hurts, because I know it's accurate as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting that even when he initially goes off to become a resistance fighter, it's still very like fairy tale, like, fucking, this is awesome. This is a boys club. Like, they're playing like the Balalaka on a fucking tank and like taking these massive pictures. And,
it's like
the Lost Boys.
It's high spirited for a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like,
there's
a lot of hope in that, and then he meets that woman, Glasha, a young woman who was saved by that resistance group. And they are the only two really left behind because of his newness to the resistance, and her being a woman, when they go and actually decide to start.
Well, also he's looking up to the leader. I think his name is Cossack. He's really looking up to him as like a hero.
Well, like, even Glasha has like almost like an attraction to him.
So when Cossack, he just casually says, "Nah, you're staying behind," it crushes the kid. Yeah,
he goes crying.
He's like full on like weeping. And it's embarrassing. Obviously, that's the point. But it's like, dude, you shouldn't be here.
No, absolutely not. Well, like, you find solace in that, though, when he sees Glasha's also crying.
Yeah.
And then they just start to laugh and become close. They become very good.
Well, for a second, they're laughing and stuff, and then he says some stuff that is
sus, like shit.
Well, it just shows his age.
Yeah, he's immature.
So she kind of shits on him, and it becomes uncomfortable for a second, but then the camp is bombs and there's like
Yeah, man.
paratroopers flying out of the sky and shit, and it goes 0 to 100 just like that.
Yeah, he goes deaf from that. Like,
yeah, I
that,
want to
like,
know how they did that in the film because the explosions look so good.
fucking really real. Yeah,
Like,
I know. There's a lot of
have,
shit in this movie where I'm like, did they actually do this?
they had
Like,
to like set up explosions and shit, but like, good on them. It looks so good. It was
dude,
terrifying.
the gunshots that they had on in the forest too, where you're seeing like full
Yeah.
on bullet penetrated trees and things like that while they're running around trying to escape. And again, they're both minors, they're both underage, immature children, and thankfully they survived that and stay the night and kind of hang out, and then they start to make their way back to
hang on.
village.
That whole sequence posts while they're just like in the woods, not really sure what to do. It's even more surreal.
It's super weird with the crane.
Yeah, I don't know what that crane represents, but
all I heard in the back of my head was a whooping crane.
yeah. But yeah, they're just out of it, and they're like,
yeah, almost like delirious.
They're delirious, showering with the rain from the trees and shit. That was very beautiful, but like the music stays ominous, so you know they're just in denial about what's going on. And
yeah, absolutely,
it gives an interesting split feeling of like happiness that they're alive and but then you're worried because you know what's going on in around them. I don't know, it's an interesting it's just a really interesting movie in the way it makes you feel when you're watching it.
I liked when she was dancing and like doing the Charleston basically, and he's just cracking up, but at the same time it felt eerie. It felt very eerie. It felt very impending doom like type shit, you know, like something around the corner. It did show that they are trying to keep hope in such a hopeless point, though.
Yeah, man, it's like,
and that's not even like the most hopeless this movie gets.
The score is nonstop, just droning, and it makes you feel uneasy the entire movie, especially when he loses his hearing. There's like a ringing for like 2 minutes, and it almost gets too much for the viewer. And I'm like, oh shit, is it actually this loud, or am I just like, I don't know. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know, most of the movie is ADR. It's ADR'd so well that it works. It's like a landscape of sounds, especially when we get to the climax of the film. We'll get there though. But
what was I gonna say about this? I like the use of like close like face shots and like
instead of over the shoulder reverse shot, it's very it's close-ups on their faces. You know where they are in position in the scene, in the area. It doesn't feel like you can't tell their placement, which is a problem in some films. You don't have any sense of area or staging, but this does it brilliantly. And I don't know who was the first to really do that trends, but I see it a lot in like Wes Anderson films. So obviously he was influenced. I feel like Taika Waititi might have been influenced by this film for Jojo Rabbit, just between in this beginning part with the girl and the young boy.
Oh shit, yeah, you're not far off at all.
Just a little bit, and in the dancing and stuff. I don't know, just a thought, maybe.
I feel like he's seen. I'm sure he's seen it
because also, and then Spielberg for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
He screened it before he made a few movies like Saving
Schindler's
Private
List
Ryan
and Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, I was reading about that. That's hella interesting.
You can see. I love when you finally watch an older film and you see what its influence that you've come to love over the years.
Dude, me fucking too. It's cool to connect it
because some people can't connect with like the original of like trends, or you know, like some people will go back and they've never seen the original Star Wars, and then they'll watch it and they're like, what was that about? And it's like, you don't understand what this has done.
That's
or
our Star Wars tie-in for we got to get a Marvel tie-in
well,
for the end of this too.
no, you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying though.
Some people
Well,
can't
it's
go
cool to
back.
go back and see what inspired, generations of people. Like reading, like when I read Dune over the summer last year before I saw it, I was like, oh my God, so many fucking things have been completely and utterly inspired by this. If you look at it in certain ways, like A New Hope is very similar to the journey of Atreides, like Paul Atreides and shit. And you can tell there's a lot of inspiration, and just any science fiction has been inspired by that. So seeing this movie and then coming to realize that, Spielberg watched this before, both Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan, which are two of the most iconic war films of all time, you can definitely see a lot of the similarities there. Especially with Schindler's List, and like we were talking about the facial shots.
Yeah.
So many of those in Schindler's List too. And I think it's an easy way to convey just like really strong emotions from brilliant actors you get, because there's so much like dread I get from seeing Flora's face a lot.
Yeah.
And it becomes almost like nightmarish when you do see the evolution of him from the beginning of the movie to the end in those facial shots.
Imagine yourself in that part. I would be just as shell shocked as him when those bombs came down, even though I'm a grown man.
Yeah, man.
Also, I want to make a broad statement and say a lot of Russian films, or these kinds of films, can be really long and slowly paced, but this one isn't. Like, it takes its time with scenes, which I liked a lot, especially when him and the woman or the girl are
Glasha.
Yeah, Gloucester, they're chilling after the bombs go off. It takes its time, but it doesn't feel like it drags at all.
No, absolutely not. I think it's necessary.
Some Russian movies, some people. Hey, look, I love Tarkovsky, but sometimes it's like, whew, like, come on. But
I don't think
that's a broad statement. Just
fuck the Ruskies. We're saying it.
A dick. But no, I liked how it takes its time without feeling like a bore. So, yeah.
No, you would. I think to some people it might feel like it drags on, but I think it was absolutely necessary. The amount they focus on, like the innocence and
if it went too fast, his transformation wouldn't be believable.
No, absolutely.
Even though all of this is happening such a short amount of time, it's immediately believable, his journey. And
this movie is 2.5 hours long, nearly 2:22, I think.
Yeah.
And the first 50 minutes of it are spent almost like before he even goes back to his village.
Yeah.
The only reason why I know is because I had to pause to go take a piss. But it was literally like they were dancing like 40 minutes into the scene, and it takes nearly an hour for them to get to the meat of the plot. But the establishing of who they are as children really makes everything that happens from there forward fucking gnarly.
And you get to like see this transformation physically as you watch his face progress from normal to dehydrated to delirious to, by the end, he's
emaciated. He's fucking not the same person.
It's almost non-human how he looks by the end of the movie.
What's really cool, the poster for this, if you get on Wikipedia, they use it looks like the original poster, but it's like one half is like his face is Fiora when he's like younger and like the beginning of the film, and the other is that ending.
Yeah.
So like it's all color on one side, and you have like the skin tone. Everything on the other side is gray.
It's really cool.
It's a really cool poster. I really like it.
Finally, I do have he's on homemade crutches, but then he doesn't need them like 5 minutes later.
I feel like he's hiding his gun.
I think. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he comes in and he pulls his gun out after.
Oh,
that.
okay. But
it confused me too, because like they get all the way pretty much to the village and he's on crutches. Like, what the fuck happened there? But then you see him pull that gun out, and then he starts, getting mad excited that he's home, and he's like, "Oh, look at all the food," but You hear that fucking buzzing of the fly the whole fucking time he's there.
Gnarly.
I hate that fucking noise.
I know,
It's
me
a
too.
pinnacle point of like nausea and like anxiety for
Just
me.
like the ringing in his ears. It just
Yeah.
gets visceral fucking filmmaking. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking tight. Them sitting down at the table though, and he's like, "My mother made this. It's still hot."
Yeah, fucking eat up.
Yeah, and then they start eating, and she starts to puke it up. And that's
she's scared. She's just spooked by the dolls that were left on the floor, and then
dolls, and just there's no one around.
Yeah, it's like creepy.
Well,
just,
then like
less is more. Because when they run out looking for his mom, she turns and sees all those bodies against the wall.
She doesn't tell him. Yeah, she doesn't.
But it's like so quick, and it's instead of like kind of going in on that and in detail, it's just a quick flash, which to me makes it way scarier.
It looks realer.
Yeah,
like it looks realer. That's like the first scene where I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, like they're doing all the running and stuff. Dude, I didn't realize bogs were so fucking disgusting. When he's like trying to get to the island where he thinks his family is, and they're in that fucking bog.
Yeah,
shit made me.
He's just panicking.
Out.
He can't fucking. He could have found a different way to cross it, but he's just full panic at this point, and he's going through it. Yeah, that's a brutal scene. Like that's when the hysteria like full on hits. Is in that.
Well, yeah, they get out, and then Glosh is like, "Your family's dead. What are we fucking doing?"
Yeah,
and he, in denial, tries to drown her. He's like, "Fuck this! You're lying. I'm gonna drown you." And then he realizes what he's doing.
What made me think of?
What's that?
At the very end of Evangelion.
Oh shit! Yeah,
when he like just starts to choke her.
All right, we got tied to Evangelion now. Let's see what else we can tie to. I love it.
I think about things.
Yeah, that's fair. All I thought about during the whooping crane scene, which I think I might have just had an epiphany about that scene. Do you remember when he's walking around like the resistance base and he steps on that nest? Maybe like, is that not, and then like that bird is that not the whooping crane's babies?
I don't know if it is or not.
It could be like an allegory for what he's about to go through with the whooping crane searching for his babies.
Guilt, because he feels, first of all, he's getting shit on by being left back in the camp, and then he steps on it and kills all those babies immediately.
Yeah,
he's got guilt, but
I just remembered that for some reason.
That's kind of a scaling tool. I feel like it's like he has guilt for this, but then when he gets to this little island from the bog, it confirms that his parents are dead.
Yeah,
and they're all telling him it's not his fault, but people are saying you shouldn't have looked for those guns out.
And he meets that guy at the beginning who told him not to look for the guns.
Yeah,
the dude has been completely burned alive, basically.
Yeah, and it's disgusting. And
I'm just gonna say, if I'm ever burned like that, y'all put a bullet in my fucking
for
head.
real. And
I ain't living like that.
The fact that they didn't kill him and left him like that is fucking horrible.
It's almost spiteful.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Like,
so, and then he feels guilty. He feels like this is all his fault.
Dude, that's like a consistent theme throughout of it.
He tries to kill himself. They stop him.
Yeah, almost immediately tries to kill himself.
But you get into a situation like that, 0 to 100 like that, any rationality is going out the door. I guess I get it. But like the day before, a day or two before, he was upset about stepping on those eggs, and now he's upset about his family being fucking murdered. That's his
mother and twin, like 6-year-old sister.
The escalation is insane. So
just that's a full-on fuck Nazis.
This is the fuck Nazi cast. We at the Harbor are officially anti-Nazi. Just so
one of my favorite things that the villagers do though is they make that disgusting clay Hitler as like a taunting material when they go out to search for food and shit.
He just but he's like so out of it, dealing with the loss of his family. He's watching this happen. It feels almost like avant-garde watching them sculpt a human out of clay.
Yeah,
very like weird. I don't know, primal.
It was very primal. It felt very like like war tribey.
All they could do to feel good was to make something so they could spit on Hitler.
Yeah, which I mean,
fucking insane.
I'd spit on Hitler. That probably make me feel
Oh
good.
hell yeah.
He's almost thrust, and then like you say 0 to 100, you get like a moment of calmness, of him being comforted by Galasha, him getting his hair cut, getting comforted by her, and then immediately, hey, we're gonna go to the storehouses, and we're gonna go get food. We're going to bring it back. So he is immediately 0 to 100 thrust right the fuck back in it.
Yeah, which keeps his mind off of his parent or his family, I guess. But at first he was just too out of it to care. But once he's put back into it, he feels like he's useful again and worth something.
And like that's not like
Shinji Ikari when he's thrust into the angel attacks.
Well, it's almost he gets to the point where like they're walking and it's not like they're going through the fucking fields of flowers. They're being shot at, they're being hunted almost. They when they get to the point where they're like, we need to stop here and wait till dark, he's like, we're gonna stop here and wait till everybody starves. Like he's still thinking of others before he's worried about himself. But I can't tell if that's like because he always thinks of others, or he feels bad and he wants to make up for it. He wants to atone.
I think he wants to atone. I think he's
you know what I'm saying though? Like
I get it.
Misguided. And then they fucking cross that minefield, which was so fucking brutal. Just like they fucking pass, and then the other two that are struggling behind run behind them, and immediately, boom, blown up. And they walk to the road and find the dude's foot.
Yeah.
And just casually tosses it into the fucking hole. What the fuck? Like, what?
The way he casually, he tosses it so casually, and Fliora's just, it's another here we go. At this point, his parents and his family's dead, so he's kind of,
there's a lot of shit out the window, like he doesn't
out the window. Exactly. He's like, well, okay, wow.
One of the things that I thought was interesting though is when they're almost right after that, you hear the noise and it sounds like an impending missile being dropped or like a whatever, and it ends up being a bottle.
It's all in their head.
They're on the ground and they're just like, they throw the empties, we bring them right back, and they start cracking up, and they just watch two of their fucking comrades literally
and Flora is like cackling like 3 times as hard. So
man.
But interesting, not many films do first person scenes well.
Like Doom. Have you ever seen the movie Doom? Yeah, we're connecting Doom to this podcast.
This does a really cool, interesting shot.
Dude, I loved it. That was one of my favorite shots.
It's because they sneak up on this farmer and they steal his cow, but most of it's shot in first person.
I think that whole scene is shot first person until they start running, or until once they get shot at.
No, once they it reveals that Flora has his gun pointed at the farmer.
Okay.
And then you see them both, but it imitates the feeling of there's someone behind you. You don't know who this is. It's a empty presence.
I loved it. I loved it a lot.
Awesome.
I thought that was that was probably one of my favorite.
A lot of interesting set pieces in this movie.
Yeah, dude. I can't speak enough about how well this film is shot and how well all the set pieces just matter, and these village towns are just like epically done.
Yeah, and for a while it's despite all the horrific things happening, it does feel like an adventure. And
like there's senses when it calms down, like this whole going to the storehouse thing is pretty adventurous, until they start to run away and then the flares go up.
Yeah, scary.
Dude, that was scary as shit. And they just Germans just start unloading on them. And that ends up killing his uncle, or at least the person he was calling uncle.
Yeah.
And the cow that they got. Did they actually kill a cow in this fucking movie?
That's what I wonder. Because there's a part where he tries to lift it up and it looks pretty realistic.
Yeah, dude.
They might have just found a dead. I don't know.
They got real close to its eyeball too, and you see the flies just like hanging on.
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
I was like, what the fuck?
Older films, especially.
Well, yeah, you got it. Like absolutely. But I was like, how have I not heard about them actually? Like, you hear about the movies that they kill animals in all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
Hannibal. I almost said Hannibal Holocaust. That'd be a whole different movie.
yeah. But like, I paused it for a second and rewound it just because I was like, did they kill an actual cow on this? Like, I was just
I don't
it took me by
know.
surprise.
I don't know.
But that scene where he like the
Well,
before
first,
the cow
before that,
shot,
they're like
joking,
trying to milk it, and
just gross. I don't
for
know
like
why.
2 seconds, they feel like they're in paradise simply because they have a cow that they can milk.
Fuck him for drinking milk right out of the udder. That shit made me fucking gag.
Bro, you're in Eastern Europe in 1943, dude. Who gives a shit?
Anybody who drinks fucking milk, period, makes me
Yeah,
gag.
sorry. I only drink oat milk. Sorry. What?
How do you milk an oat?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I liked when he started crawling over to check on his uncle. I can't remember the uncle's name. It's like Uncle Bear or something like that. And he tries to grab that gun. And I guess maybe rigor mortis may have immediately like set in because he's not able to fucking grab that gun. And so immediately after that, the cow's shot and he hides behind that cow until morning.
Yeah.
Which it's cool the way that they did the onslaught of bullets, because they added in a little laser piece so they could track where the bullets are. That's what that red marker is usually. They still do that today, because they have that. I don't know if they actually did that in World War II, but to use that as like as imagery for the movie was awesome. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's everything in this movie looks top notch.
Dude, everything. Even like the fog, man. The fog rolling in while the Nazis on the motorbike. That shit just
there's reoccurring imagery, maybe a motif of that bomber plane flying over. Like they cut to that like 5 times.
Yeah.
Just I guess to hammer in the dread of always being under the Nazis.
Constant surveillance.
Yeah.
And then you also got the P-51, the Cadillac of the sky.
Yeah, this could be like this could almost be like a double feature in a way.
It really could.
Our other cast. Go watch our other cast. Empire of the Sun.
Man, one of the more impactful characters of the movie comes out in almost immediately when he tries to rob that horse carriage of his horse. And he's like, I'm a fighter, what are you doing? And threatening this man, like, I'm taking this horse. And then the Nazis start to appear.
The man is like, oh shit, this guy's like he's like, this kid's a kid, he's a child. Oh shit. And he's like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And he like knocks some sense into him, makes him realize what he's doing.
It's so selfless when he's like, take off your belt, take off your coat, we're hiding it right now, hide your gun, get in here. Okay, you have 7 different sisters, you're gonna take the identity of a boy who drowned. And then he realized, oh, they're rounding everybody up, you're actually my grandson.
That's some clutch shit, dude.
That's so, it's only a brief amount of time we spend with that guy, but that is
but like
quite possibly the only kindness he gets in the whole fucking movie.
Has like he has several different companions over this adventure, and they're all interesting in their own ways.
Absolutely.
That's why
you start with Glasha, and then you get with the uncle.
Uncle guy, and then now the old man.
Yeah.
And so, I love how this film was made. How like an adventure movie, but it's not. It's fucked.
No, it's the real life adventure.
But really. So they thankfully don't get stopped by the SS. Which is
thank God they park
special
on the
Nazi
road.
force people who don't know World War II,
like the most cruel soldiers in
the
Nazi regime, responsible for a fucking lot of terroristic and disgusting acts, including what happens to this fucking village when he gets there. Almost immediately as they get there, they're rounded up into one home.
Well, not yet. No.
Well, when he gets to the village,
he goes and like chills in that house with that old man's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're where he's got a ton of people in there, including his neighbors. They're rounded up almost in there, and that Nazi comes in and they provide him food, and the other Nazis outside are just toying with the kids and all of that in there, and it's really fucking eerie of him just eating and like everybody staring at him and just like hard to like they don't want to move.
There's a lot of films, World War II films, where people are, as a constant theme of all the villagers, innocent people sitting idly by, having to serve them like kings. I've seen that in a lot of movies.
Well, it's like a lot of these villagers aren't wanting to be
obviously,
the hero.
Like the opening to Inglourious Bastards, which is an all-time opening scene.
Au revoir, Shoshana. Favorite scenes.
I don't know. And man, yeah, that's a favorite of mine. And then Sound of Music's a favorite of mine.
Well, you also on what's it called? Even like American soldiers do this shit. Like if you watched Saving Private Ryan,
yeah,
they're sitting in there and they're enjoying meals, and there's a few other
you gotta
different.
turn that fucking shit off on your desktop. Like,
Okay.
That's unprofessional.
I didn't even realize that it was on. Talk about unprofessional. You're wearing a crown.
Yeah, no, that's that's the most professional you can get.
We're talking about eating like kings. What are you sus, bro? Let me see your papers, bro.
Shit. Well, also from all the stories I've heard of my family trying to escape from a dictator. Okay. Some people listening probably don't know about, all their politics are American. Well, years ago, there was a dictator named Milosevic, Serbian, and he hunted down my people, like similar to Hitler hunting down Jews. So hearing of the tactics they would have to do to appease the soldiers that would come through, hearing these stories from my own family hits extra hard when you see similar shit in movies. And this is another example. Because some of my family were taken to work camps and had to be liberated later on. And it wasn't like Auschwitz and they weren't put in fucking showers and shit, but like
all of those camps were awful.
But just seeing like certain things like in this movie, it just makes it extra hard for me sometimes.
I think a lot of people with the Nazis in general here too don't realize that like they weren't just fucking like genociding Jews. Like the Belarusians, are they Jewish?
No, there's a couple Jews, but like they're just doing it because fuck them.
Yeah, they're basically like
because they're not the superior race.
Yeah, it's fucked.
And Flora knows what they're capable of. These people don't really realize what exactly is going to happen.
Well, what are they going to do? Like
I know, I get it, but it's like he's so desperate to like say something.
Yeah, he's screaming at him. Like he runs out of that house and starts to scream at them. What are you doing? Run away. Hurry, leave. And he's gathered up by that fucking traitor piece of shit who's got the Nazi head thing on. He's like, I'm a Nazi now, fuck you, and like grabbing him by the face. Who they even the Nazis don't fucking like. Fucking red coat piece of shit. But he like while they're all running and they're all gathered, and that's literally them being like wrangled like cattle,
taken out there, and then they're all put into that big barn, which is one of the most fucked up scenes in a movie that I've seen.
Yeah, I had
because you know what's coming, but in your mind you're pushing it back. You're like, no, maybe they're just around. You just want to.
You also don't understand how fucking it's even more brutal than I would have expected. They gather up everybody in here, women, children, men. Everybody is in there. Everybody is trapped. There's a man standing guard, shooting people who are going into the windows, and then the Nazi comes up and he's like, "If you leave your children, you can leave." No one's willing to do that. I mean, Flora doesn't have children, so he leaves. There's a few other people.
He says, "Fuck it."
Yeah, he's like, "Man,
what are you gonna be like?"
I mean, what else? Why would he stay if he doesn't?
Yeah, it's just the most disgusting ultimatum is, oh, if you leave your kids behind, you can leave.
It makes me sick to my fucking stomach.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Because almost immediately after that, there's a couple other people that are dragged out. But like all the Nazis are lined up, and then they immediately start throwing in like.
Well, also they pull the woman out, and
that's what I'm saying. grab her by the hair, and he's just like pulling her out,
and they're
dragged.
Yeah, and well, I don't want to say probably too loud what happens to her, but you see later, it's really dark.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
They immediately start throwing in grenades and blowing people up, and you hear the screams.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they're throwing Molotovs in. And then they're all cheering and applauding, and then they all line up to douse it in bullets.
Well, also we have to talk about how the use of audio, they escalate the scene, but they have like barking dogs constantly, a bunch of Nazi soldiers jeering and like yelling, laughing, different people doing different things, the screaming, the sounds of fire. So it's all these different audios compiled together into this insane track, just of sounds that makes you almost ill because of how much is going on and how it's overbearing. And it's really brilliant audio editing, and it makes the scene because it just doesn't stop for
it doesn't.
Minutes and minutes and minutes. And even after these people are burned alive, it keeps going because you want it to stop, but it keeps lingering on the stuff. Even after it, those guys take a picture with him with the gun up to his head and stuff. They could have just killed. I'm surprised they didn't kill him, but they're just fucking with him. Fuck him.
Yeah,
they probably wanted him to like see and remember what they did.
It's like top 5 hardest watches for me, that scene. I had to pause it and I had to go smoke a fucking cigarette is what I had to do, because all it did was make me angry and sick to my stomach. And then they continued to pillage the village, and they bring that old lady who's, I'm almost positive, has dementia.
And she doesn't even know what's going on. She's smiling.
Set her in her bed on top of the hill to overwatch.
Insane imagery. That shot of that old lady is fucking awesome. Yeah, like it's super horrible, but
it's horrifying. But it makes
it looks like a painting.
Point. Yeah,
that's the point. Yeah, point. And she's just gonna lay there until she dies, I guess, which is fucked. But
thankfully Fiora has lived. He survives this, and shit's still not good. He continues on. I think he starts to follow where the German soldiers are going.
Yeah.
And along that track, he finds the woman that was dragged out.
Well, yeah, but also,
he finds that Nazi who got shot with the motorbike, who's just like holding herself and is like dying in front of him. And he takes her gauze.
Yeah.
He takes her gauze and he goes back to get his resistance uniform, and he fixes his gun.
Yeah, he does. Also, I think the director co-wrote the book that this was made from.
Really?
Yeah, so I think this is very personal. I think he was very personal to him.
Yeah.
So that's why he lingers on that horrific set piece. That's like, to me, that is the like the meat of the movie, is that even though there's like 20 minutes of falling action after this, 20 or 30, and I wouldn't say falling action, but I'm saying that set piece is one of the most horrific but important set pieces I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah, man.
Which which they, when they cut to the numbers at the end of how many people, how many villages it happened to or whatever, it makes you sick and it hits. But yeah, before that, he takes the gauze and he fixes his gun with it, which is
he gets his gear back, man. He's like, he's like, fuck this, basically.
Yeah. And
follows where the Germans are.
Thankfully, those Nazis were ambushed
by Cossack.
Cossack comes back.
Yeah.
It comes all full circle.
Oh yeah. Fuck them all, man.
And at this point, Flora's like taking the lead on shit. Like, he's standing right next to Cossack, like talking big shit. And I'm like,
fuck. He sees. I want to talk about that woman in the fugue state.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
She was
scary.
That woman comes from the woods. She's in a fugue state. Her eyes are completely glassed over. She has blood coming from her legs, so it's implied that she was pretty viciously SA'd. She has a whistle. Dude, that whistle's one of the most eerie fucking sounds in the whole movie.
A lot of high-pitched noises in this film.
Yeah, the whistle, the tinnitus, the fucking fly, small things that are just so overpowering in the sound that, dude, that whistle was fucking with me.
Yeah,
because it's throughout like the last 15 minutes of that movie, that whistle's kind of in the underlying of
and
it.
in the back, well, the whole movie has a droning going on.
Consistently
hearing this, so that just adds to it, and it gets to you. Imagine seeing that in a theater with those speakers.
No,
that would be next level.
I'm good,
but
I have pretty good speakers in my room.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm good. But like, I just think that image of like her walking out and then stopping and just staring with that whistle falling from her mouth is.
Yeah. It looks like a painting of a tragedy from like long ago.
Yeah, it's
beautiful, but like
it's gonna haunt my brain for a while.
The whole movie is haunting.
Yeah. Thankfully, we get a little comeuppance though. When they do go to where Cossack is, and they captured those Nazis that still live.
And I love that he's standing right there next to Cossack, like fuck this.
With that fucking thing of gasoline, and the guy's having the other dude translate for him, and so whenever they're burning everything down, there's this Nazi there with like a little monkey, and that he's like a higher up SS officer.
Yeah.
And he starts to have one of his troopers translate for him, and he's a fucking pussy. He's like, I'm an old man and all this stuff, and he's a
and you think coward. You're wondering if they're gonna let him live or something. No way. But
no.
And then it's a very interesting scene trying to see him like plead.
And desperation, man.
Even the translator is like, look, this is his words, not mine, please.
Well, then you got that Nazi next to him who's just like
hair, blue eyes.
Yeah, you're a fucking pussy, basically.
Like, fuck all of you. You don't deserve to exist.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, oh shit. Well,
that's the real Nazi shit. That's the fucked up. Like, they're all real Nazis, but that's the fucking.
This guy's ready to die, thinking that he's helping the master race. Like, fuck this. So,
I love that he gets the gasoline because it's symbolic again of what they did to his village at the beginning.
Yeah.
So he's exacting revenge, and he gets the gasoline, and they pour it all over these people, and you're like, they're gonna light him on fire. And then you see the scene of the guy running down the road with a fucking torch from the church that was just burned with all the people alive, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so fucking rad that they're about to burn them alive with the like the embers of their fucking fallen people.
Yeah.
But then they were like, fuck that. And they just blew them all away.
They don't even, they can't even wait. They're like, fuck it. They shoot.
Even including that little fucking traitorous little prick who's like talking shit the whole time, and like the little tiny one that used to be a part of that village, and he's like, I'm not a Nazi, I'm on your side, and they still fucking lit him up, dude.
Yeah, fuck them.
No good Nazis unless they're dead Nazis.
Yeah. So that's one good like moment. You know what I mean? Like a little bit retribution, a little bit of revenge.
They had to give something. But then like immediately after that, he walks off and he finds that picture of Hitler.
Yeah, and this is where it gets experimental.
Dude, all of the imagery from like the end of the war until Hitler's a fucking child.
Yeah, it just reverses. And it's just a montage of reversed footage. But also you see that footage. We were shown that footage in high school.
Yeah.
For perspective of like the
like the death camps,
like people so skinny that they're like, how the
those images have always fucked with me hard.
Always, but it's important for people to see.
Always consistently cuts back to Flora just pumping fucking
around. Flora, he keeps shooting this picture. That's like the only time he shoots his gun is at
literally the only time,
a picture of a Nazi, and it's Hitler, and it's not even doing anything. It's helpless.
Yeah. What did you think about?
All he can do. It's all he,
Once they got done with that montage, though, fucking Flora's crying.
Yeah. Well, that whole montage is like wishing that this could have never happened, et cetera, et cetera. But the way it's edited is so ahead of its time. It plays almost like an experimental film.
This is just a side note. apparently some of the new Harry Potter canon is that the wizards wanted to actually keep the Holocaust around. They were trying to stop the
I'm
other
not
people.
talking Harry Potter.
I'm just saying, you brought up Star Wars and all this other shit. Fuck Harry Potter for trying to keep the Holocaust.
No. What I'm saying is like that's when the movie it becomes like there's a scene in every movie that cements like a good movie as like a masterpiece, and that reverse footage interspersed with him shooting at that picture without even thinking is I don't know.
Incredibly well
I don't
done.
even know how to explain it, but
Just
it
watch. You
works
guys
so
just
well.
watched. You guys, that's the absolute essential cinema is what we're discussing today.
What we, of course, you wish that none of it could have happened, but
yeah,
you have to march on, which is what happens right after that scene. They march into the
I
woods.
thought for Flora's character shedding that tear at the end spoke a lot for him.
Yeah.
I think as a person, because also interesting enough, this is taking us back a little bit further back in the movie.
Yeah.
When they do start open firing, did you notice that one Nazi crying over it?
No, I don't think so.
There was one Nazi with glasses who was sniffling, and he wipes his eyes before he
interesting.
fired. Doesn't excuse
him.
anything. Fuck him. Hope he's dead. Not the actor, but any Nazi that period. But it's interesting that Flora sheds that tear for what happens to be the most monstrous humans that have probably ever lived.
And he a lot of final close-ups on his face to show the transformation.
Fucking aging. I don't even know how long this takes place. Maybe over like a few days.
Yeah, like
maybe a little bit longer
at the most.
Yeah, and he goes from having just like this smile and very young looking to full of wrinkles and dirt and bags under his eyes, and lips are dry and just looks emaciated. And the hats off to that fucking actor, dude.
Yeah, he's probably incredible. He's like my mom's age now.
Yeah, he's not really been in. I pulled him up because he is one of the only people on the Wikipedia page that also has another Wikipedia page. The Glosha stopped acting after this. And there's a couple other people in here, but he has also been in a lot of others like Russian shit. Not a whole lot of really anything I've seen.
I'd like to. I somehow mirrored the end of this film on my own film. I didn't realize it because I've never seen this movie, but in Summit of Saturn, it does a bunch of reverse footage montage at the end, and I don't know, and I don't know. I just wanted to say that that's cool. It's like I did the same thing without even seeing this movie.
That's iconic, man.
I guess I am a true patrician filmmaker, huh?
It was pre-ingrained patrician.
Yeah, shout out my movies. My movies are better than these movies we talk about on here, but
this has been one of my favorite movies we've watched for the cast.
Yeah.
It's
for a reason.
One of the movies I've been wanting to watch for a while for the cast, and we just kind of randomly threw out a group of movies, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do the Come and See finally.
Yeah.
It's become iconic amongst the film crowds, and
I put it off for a while because of all the memes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much. Sometimes that happens. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just get tired.
No, that's fair. The only way I had known about this movie in any capacity before this was through memes.
Yeah.
So that's totally understandable. But ignore memes. This is truly one of the best World War II films ever made.
Yeah.
It's been hard watch. I would consider this something that I think everybody should watch at least once, because it also brings into history that is not told very often.
Right.
And it's important that we kind of respect and pay homage and learn about the cultures that were affected by the Nazis that we didn't even know about,
Yeah, because it cuts to a title card. Well, not a title card, but text saying how many villages were burned down and shit. And it just, that's so many evil statistics from World War II that slipped through the cracks in general education about it, that and like this is so important to a certain group of people, and yet we didn't know about it because it's just there's too many horrific things that happen to even count them all in the textbook. So yeah, it's fucking crazy.
This movie definitely has me wanting to explore more Soviet films, like pre wall taken down, because it seems there was a lot of push from the government for censorship on this film. And I'd like to honestly compare pre-Russia or current Soviet to post-Soviet cinema. It's just interesting to me. I took a class in college called Central European Culture we watched Soviet era and post-Soviet era films from Russia and Germany. And there's a big leap in content.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ones that you would think would be post, Gorbachev tear down that fuck Ronald Reagan.
It's not,
but it's not. It's something that it took him 8 years to be able to get through censorships.
Yeah.
Just fucking nuts to me.
Also, it's cool how quickly some countries can develop after certain incidents. Like as soon as Kosovo was liberated and they started forming their own little country, it became first world in just like a decade.
Yeah, man.
It's wild.
When people want to oppress the way that people want to oppress, they take away the means of production and the means of celebrating oneself and individuality, and they make it all into one, which, I'm a socialist. I'm not, but at the same time, I understand where socialism has had its wrongs, and
I'm a free thinker, man.
I'm free. I don't govern, man. There are no borders, dude. I'm a sovereign citizen. You can't arrest me. But also, I just want to say, fuck all Nazis, including the Nazis today that sat around picketing fucking outside of stores saying you cannot replace us Jews. I hope you fucking rot in hell and die too.
Hell yeah, bro. That's how we do it here.
Real shit though.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit that we have anybody that has these kind of ideologies, and it breaks my fucking heart for the human race. And this movie broke my heart even more and made me double the fuck down, boys. So fuck a Nazi. If I see a Nazi, I'm gonna punch him in the fucking mouth.
And that is Austin Casher's official stance on Nazis. For any further inquiries, you can email me at adrianbachiri@gmail.com and tell me how you would fuck a Nazi's day up.
Yeah, dude. We need to start doing a subsection where we answer emails about how we'd fuck Nazis up. I love that. Oh man. Yeah, definitely check out this movie, Essential Fucking Cinema.
Don't watch this cast, really. I don't think, if you haven't seen it. But
yeah, for sure. We basically described the whole movie.
We didn't really explain some shit, but
yeah, watch it regardless, even if you watch this cast and it's spoiled for you. It's not
one of those
I can't describe it enough.
One of those hyped up cinephile movies that actually delivers and is
dude, yeah, there's some movies that are like everybody hypes up and it's like this was okay.
And that's another example of sometimes movies get like a re-release or restoration and it brings it to a whole new generation of people.
Next stop is The Toxic Avenger.
Talked about this last cast on the IMDb cast, the Blade Runner having a director's cut 10 years later is what made everyone dig it. And man, yeah, it's just
my favorite science fiction film of all time.
Yeah, man.
I think that and Her and Empire Strikes Back are my
top for sure. Yeah. But that's Come and See D's nuts.
Yeah, no. Cut that.
All right, thanks for watching. See ya.
Thanks, guys. Bye.